Are you mother-in-law calling me ugly? Get ready for my husband. Recently, I went to my class reunion. We all graduated when we were 18. Now 15 years are past and everyone is in their 30s. It was a really nice event. Very interesting to find out what your old classmates have been up to all this time. My former teacher had made a small photo album for each of us. It consists of our pictures back when we graduated and our current pictures. Some people have changed a lot, some, me included, haven't. The next day, mother-in-law came over, and when she noticed the album, a phrase came out of her mouth that wasn't that unexpected, but quite unpleasant nevertheless. She said, "Look at everyone. Everyone has glowed up over these years, even the ugly girls. Everyone but you. Unattractive then and unattractive now." See, that's something my mother-in-law has always held against me. She's one of those women who love regularly spend a lot of time to make themselves look neat and attractive. Salons, manicures, pedicures, hairdressers, stylists, and heavy makeup. That's my mother-in-law. She strongly believes that that's what every woman should do. I'm the complete opposite. I don't pay that much attention to my appearance. To me, the most important is to have basic things like a clean body, clean clothes, washed hair, and clean teeth. I don't wear makeup. My friend, who is a hairdresser, trims my hair every few months. When it comes to my nails, I just cut them short and forget about it. It's so unimportant to me. And that's why mother-in-law thinks of me as an ugly duckling and sometimes spits out little comments like, "Doll yourself up a bit. How can you walk around like a gray mouse?" I don't understand what my son has found in you. Normally, men don't look at women like you. Dye your hair for once. Your natural color is so dull. I won't look like you even on my deathbed. Luckily, I have a very thick skin when it comes to comments like this, and normally that doesn't offend me at all. I hear it and forget about it almost instantly. I don't really care what people think about me. If you don't like me, I'm not going to rip my ass in half just to make you like me. So when she said it, I was like, whatever. She obviously thinks fairly highly of herself, even though I feel like someone who's completely happy with himself will not say hurtful things to others. Then mother-in-law was like, just a little advice from one woman to another. You should really look after yourself and make yourself look a little prettier. Otherwise, you might lose your husband. My son is a great man, of course, yet he's only a man, and men don't like ugly women. I thought, well, then you obviously don't know your own son. I highly doubt that the main reason why he married me was my looks. I seriously don't think that's the biggest priority when it comes to choosing who you want to spend your life with. It's a factor, of course, but what's the point of a pretty face if the person who has it is an asshole? Later that day, my husband came home from work and noticed the photo album too, commenting on how cool and interesting it was. I told him that his mother obviously disagrees because she was over earlier and called me ugly. It didn't matter to me, but it did to him. I wasn't even expecting such a reaction because he called mother-in-law straight away and asked her to explain why would she say something like that to me. Mother-in-law said that she only explained to me something I should know, that a woman must be beautiful to not lose her marriage. My husband was like, "Mom, don't forget that most of your beauty can be wiped off with a wet wipe." My wife, on the contrary, always has the same face. She didn't like it, needless to say. Well, I haven't seen mother-in-law without makeup, but my husband said it's not a pleasant view. Talking my husband out of a dangerous trip, and I am the bitch here? Lately, my husband and I have been trying to decide where we want to go on a vacation this summer, and mother-in-law is trying to actively participate in it even though we never ask for her opinion or help. Her friend works in a tour company and she calls us every day with new traveling offers. And yes, I know she probably doesn't mean anything bad and is just trying to help, but at this point, it's getting very annoying and intrusive. First, she tried to ship us off to Thailand, knowing very well we have certain memories about this country that makes us not want to go there. We visited Thailand back in 2004 and happened to be there right when the tsunami hit. Fortunately, we survived, but that certainly wasn't a pleasant experience, And even after all these years, we still don't feel like going back. Mother-in-law's argument that we should give it another try and replace old memories with new ones is kinda invalid to us. Then, she offered a bunch of other countries that we have visited already, and some of them didn't seem worth our time and money. My husband told her to stop thinking for us and we'll find a destination ourselves. Mother-in-law offended a little bit, but seemed to leave us alone for a while. Until yesterday. Mother-in-law called again and said she has found a place we haven't been yet, would 100% enjoy, and will be forever grateful for her advising. She decided that we should go to Chernobyl. My husband first seemed to be interested and even enjoyed. I was like, yes, let's go to one of those most contaminated places in the world. Sounds like fun. What are we going there for? To pick up some extra radioactivity? To raise of chances of getting cancer? And yes, I know that those tours are legal, but just because something is legally allowed doesn't mean you should actually go ahead and do it. So I told my husband, you're an adult and it's your choice. If you want to go, feel free to, but I won't, and I don't advise you to go either. There are hundreds of other places out there without a history of nuclear accidents. I guess that made him think and realize that it's really not the best destination for a trip. I understand that it's interesting to check out ghost towns and stuff, and I don't mean to offend people who do it, but I personally think that in this case, it's very risky. Chernobyl will keep being contaminated dozens, if not hundreds of years. So when my husband told mother-in-law we're not going, she got very mad because for some reason she had already booked everything necessary for the trip. Who asked you to, mother-in-law? We've never said we would go. She blamed us for wasting her time and making her brother her friend doing our favors, and we're so picky she doesn't know what to offer us. No one asked her to do anything. Stop giving advice if no one is asking for it, mother-in-law. And she said to my husband, I know it's that bitch wife of yours. Man up at once and tell her she will do whatever you tell her to do. Like a real man of the family. That made him angry. He told mother-in-law to leave us alone. We find where to go this summer by ourselves. He stopped answering her calls and finally we have some peace. But really, think with your head before you offer more. Book something for someone. I have no idea what made her think we might want to go to Chernobyl. I'm ready to forgive you for my tantrum. My mother-in-law is the victim. Always. And the most petty, easily offended person I've ever dealt with. She seems pleasant on the surface, but goes out of her way to find offense and manipulate with her who is me BS. I generally grey rock, which offends her, but so does anything I say. She crossed some lines for me after the birth of my second child last spring though. The issues included her losing her cool at my dear son when he offended her. He acted like a tired child instead of her emotional support animal. And getting offended that I asked her for my infant at their son's birthday party to take care of the baby. The latter accident led to her creating an uncomfortable environment for everyone at my child's party. Then to her giving us the silent treatment. Dear husband is working his way out of the FOG. Finally, he didn't go out of his way this time to smooth things over with mother-in-law. He called her once, she ignored. A few months went by with no contact when we usually see them nearly every weekend. Then evil father-in-law tried to get dear husband to come over to their house, presumably to try to lecture him back in line and to talk about me and how I offended mother-in-law. Dear husband tried to arrange a phone call instead, both because our schedules are busy and so I could be on the line to actually defend myself for once. Mother-in-law threw a guilt-tripping tantrum about this and refused to talk, while also complaining that she hasn't seen him and the kids. Then father-in-law called dear husband to scream at him. After that, I texted her my side of the story from the party and she was pissed that I have an opinion about her poor behavior. A few more months of silence followed, then a failed phone call between the four of us where mother-in-law and father-in-law lectured us about mother-in-law's life history of hurts and how what happened is actually my fault. So much Darvo, gaslighting, etc. Since then, we've not reached out to them. Father-in-law sends their husband a message about mundane crap every week or two. Examples: I'm going to launch at X location on Friday, I'm selling one of my guns, etc. Their husband pretty much grey rocks. Polite, short answers with very little info. Mother-in-law has been completely silent since the phone conversation until today. She called their husband to tell him she was in his room, the room that was his until he moved out over a decade ago, thinking of him and wanted to check on him, ask about work, and if he had gotten over a virus he had. It sounds nice and caring, especially since she does not typically reach out to him, and he's told her numerous times that it's not fair he does all the work in their relationship while she complains that it isn't enough. I want him to feel like his mother actually cares about him, but I can't help but feel like this is an attempt at rug sweeping or something. Like she's testing the waters to see if he's ready to forget that she refuses to apologize for her tantrums and entitlement. I am not ready. She acted like a brat and then blamed us, caused unnecessary drama to last for months, and tarnished special occasions for us. Vilified me during a vulnerable time in my life, PPD, PPA, and still claims that I'm lying about what actually happened. Their husband wants peace, but agrees that they haven't actually taken responsibility for the damage they've caused. Their husband has been considering texting them to say that things aren't resolved and rug sweeping isn't the way to a good relationship. But he keeps putting it off and playing nice every time they contact him. He's supporting me more than he ever has in the past, but I feel like his responses sent the message that he is over her tantrums, but I'm not. Which isn't actually the case, he just doesn't seem able to communicate that to them. I feel uneasy and like this is a trap, but not sure what to actually do about it. If their husband tells them that things aren't resolved, they are going to blow up again. Honestly, I want peace and healing in the relationship, but I'm not willing to be a doormat and put my kids in the position to feel responsible for her happiness anymore. She's an emotional mess and needs to seek help, but won't. I don't want that to be our problem anymore though. Just not sure how to communicate healthy boundaries and how to resolve this without making things worse. Let's have a look at the comments. It sounds like he actually is over the tantrums if he is continuing to communicate and actually allow the rug sweep. You're right, it sounds that way. He wants everyone to get along and wants to do what a good son would do, whatever that is. But he knows they haven't tried to apologize or make things right, and he's upset about it. At least when he talks to me, maybe he's really still playing both sides like he always has before. Thanks for that insight, depressing but accurate. I would ask him what the point in being a good son is if his parents are bad parents. He was a first-time dad with a first-time mom by his side. You two needed support, not tantrums. And what about me? Life is not always going to be about her, and she needs to get over it, and her husband needs to quit enabling her. She's a grown adult who chooses to be petty rather than, a mature adult, let alone a mother. Also, being a good son is fine so long as he remembers that being a good husband is a priority as well. Sometimes being a good son husband involves making waves instead of calming them. So those were the stories for today's video. If you enjoyed this and want to watch more videos, then click here for more stories or go check out the info card in the right hand corner for more videos.